This video is about two things: artificial intelligence and how it relates to music composition, and also copyright and how YouTube and Google, because Google owns YouTube, continually fails to deliver a proper copyright solution to music copyright. So before we get into Russia's involvement with this AI copyright malarkey, we really need to decide what AI is. And it's a really big question, and I think it's a difficult question to answer, but since everybody and their dog has made a video about artificial intelligence and how it relates to music composition, I've been sitting on the sidelines because AI is not an easy thing in my view to define, but it has come to the point when I think I need to make my views on artificial intelligence known. So what is artificial intelligence in relation to music composition? So how do we define artificial intelligence? Now, when you think of artificial intelligence, you may think of a computer that can reason and think like a human being. And that, I think, is one definition of artificial intelligence. But there is a whole range of subsets of artificial intelligence which do not necessarily involve the computer being intelligent. Now, I would venture to suggest that this includes expert systems and machine learning. And in that sense, and I really don't want to open a can of worms, but in that sense, to me, ChatGPT is not intelligent. Now, I have a friend and we sometimes debate this. He believes ChatGPT is intelligent, although we are using slightly different definitions of the term intelligence. I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole, but systems that use machine learning and expert systems that are trained on a massive amount of data, I don't think they're intelligent. I think they use this data and the programmers bring this together in clever algorithms. So a program like ChatGPT, for example, and I'm using that as an example because I think most people are familiar with it, that has been trained on gazillions amounts of data. But I think that ultimately it is just a clever algorithm. I don't think there's anything intelligent about it. You may feel otherwise, as does my friend. Now, I don't know exactly how the AI programs which compose music work. Perhaps some of them work in a similar way. They've been fed a gazillion number of tunes, so they know what makes a tune and what constitutes harmony and so on. Or maybe they have just been given a set of rules which they use to generate music. In both cases, however, I think they are just using really clever algorithms to generate music. And this is not new. So if you believe that programs which generate music in that way are artificially intelligent, then I was writing artificially intelligent music generation programs back in the 80s. Yes, it's another appearance of my book, Making Music on the BBC Computer, and in it I have several examples of programs written in BASIC which generate music. Are they intelligent? Well, not at all. They're just algorithmic composition programs. So this brings us to the thrust of the video, which is an artificial intelligent, an algorithmic composition program called M, which was developed by a company called Intelligent Music back in the 80s, and it was initially produced for the Atari ST. And back in the late 1980s, I used it to create a piece of music which I called Cosmic Dance, which I put on my channel about 2.5 years ago. And yes, the music you can hear chuntering away in the background is Cosmic Dance. We'll see if this video gets a copyright claim. Yes, I'll pop a card to it up there, and there will also be a link to it in the description. This has been on the channel for 2.5 years. Nothing about 3 people have listened to it. But a month ago, YouTube sent me this email saying someone has made a copyright claim against it. And here is the email. And it says that the copyrighted content is Satan Law, or something like that, and is claimed by SME. Now, I had to look both of these up, and SME stands for, I believe, Sony Music Entertainment. The other word, according to Google Translate, is from the Azerbaijan dialect or language and means the devil or Satan. You can see that in the etymology a little bit, I think. So I have no idea what this is about. And one of the strange things, according to the email, is that they're only claiming copyright in Russia. Now, copyright is an incredibly complicated subject, but I was a bit puzzled about why this might be copyrighted in Russia and nowhere else, particularly as this is Sony, which probably has fingers in just about every country in the world. And the even stranger thing from my point of view was, wow, how many viewers do I have in Russia? So here are my analytics, broken down by country. And I think I have had 24 views from people in Russia. Now, whether that is one dedicated fan who has watched 24 of my videos or 24 individual people who have just watched one video, I've no idea. But in any event, this is an incredibly small number, and is it worth bothering with? Well, as a matter of principle, it is absolutely worth bothering with, because Sony is wrong, YouTube is wrong. This really gets my goat, grinds my gears. I'm being as polite as I can. How can Sony claim copyright on a piece of music which was created with my input by an algorithmic composition program 35 years ago? So yes, of course I appealed. Now, YouTube really does not want you to make an appeal. There are hints about this in the email, and if you go to the appeal process, there are more dire warnings about what might happen to you and your channel if you appeal and fail. Now, what happens with these appeals is that you have to say why this music is not theirs, why you have the copyright to it. So I did, and if it's a good company, they will look at it and say, oh yes, we've made a mistake here, and they will release the copyright. The bad companies such as, Sony, they don't do anything, they just sit on it, and the appeal will expire within 30 days, so if they don't say, no, you're wrong, this is our copyright, if they do nothing, the appeal expires and the copyright reverts to you. And Sony just didn't bother replying to it, and the appeal expired. So yay, this video can now be shown to however many people want to watch it in Russia. But this just highlights the complete and utter inanity, is that a word, of the whole copyright process, the way it's handled by YouTube and Google. Now, the way the big companies do this, they use a system called Content ID. I have not explored that at all, so I have no idea how it works or what it does, but they seem to generate a fingerprint for music, which the companies claim are theirs, and then they go searching through the world on YouTube to see if any of the fingerprints match any of the other bits of music which are out there. And yes, sometimes they get it wrong. Actually, they get it wrong a lot. This is the second copyright claim I have had. I made a video about the other one where the Koreans, or a Korean company, try to claim copyright of a piece of Chopin's music. Yes, I'll pop a card up there and a link to that in the description if you want to check that one out. One of the most stupid and idiotic copyright claims that I've heard about on YouTube, and this has happened to several people, is that someone somewhere is attempting to claim copyright of a filter sweep. How the heck does this happen? There is something desperately wrong, either with Content ID's fingerprinting system, but more so, I would say, with YouTube and Google's way of handling these copyright claims. Now, the whole copyright claim on YouTube, as far as I can tell, is totally automatic. I think we have computers fighting computers. The Content ID says this is copyright, so I think an automatic copyright claim is put in. Now, if nothing is done about it, the copyright claim will stand just automatically. But there are real people on the other side of this, the YouTube content creators. So if you put in an appeal, that will go after the claimant. I suspect they probably will not even bother to look at it, so it automatically expires after 30 days. But I can't think of a company better equipped than Google to sort out this whole copyright claim mess. But they don't seem to be bothered. But it is a mess. It's a terrible mess. And the copyright claim system used by YouTube is simply not fit for purpose. Now, as a small YouTube creator, when I get letters like this, I panic a little bit. Heck, what have I done now? Because we don't want copyright claims, we don't want strikes and stuff like that. I know some people play fast and loose with this sort of stuff, but I'm a small creator. I don't. Most of my music is absolutely 100% original. The stuff which isn't tends to be classical music, which I've rearranged. In this case, I think I was standing up for a principle, and thankfully it got resolved in my favour. Or more correctly, it was allowed to elapse. Have you suffered at the hands of Content ID and YouTube's copyright algorithm? I think anyone who puts music up on their channel may well have had a visit from the YouTube police. And it really would not surprise me at all if someone on YouTube has posted a piece of totally original music which has had a copyright claim against it, and for one reason or another that copyright claim was upheld incorrectly. That would not surprise me at all. So when computers are actually able to write half decent pieces of music, that'll be fun. So let me know what you think about this old copyright claim malarkey. I'm off to have a celebratory cup of tea. I will see you again in the next one.